Good afternoon once again. My name is Abiud Bosire. I'm a doctoral candidate at the University of Erlangen-Nürnberg. So I'm currently in the writing phase of my dissertation, and I would like to present something which is coming out from the qualitative interviews that I conducted in Kenya and the analysis as well. And my dissertation is on the factors influencing the implementation of global education in secondary schools, and it's a comparative study between junior secondary schools. So in Kenya, it's junior secondary schools, and in German is middle school. So it's a kind of a comparison layer for my study. And I look at global education in light of globalization and globalization influence in education. And in this sense, global education, which is the key concept in my study, is an approach to education that aims to equip learners, these are students, with knowledge, skills, and attitudes to be able to navigate the contemporary society, which is affected by global challenges, which can be both positive and negative. But this is also, when I talk about globalization, I'm also a bit sensitive with the emerging discourses of deglobalization and nationalization of education in different contexts. And in this case, then, when we talk about a global education implementation in second school, there's one key factor that comes up. Concept, when you talk about global education concept, can it be human rights education, sustainability education, education for sustainable development? These concepts are not new subjects, but they're new concepts which are being incorporated within the existing curriculum and within existing subjects. So what happens in this case then, for this concept to be able to be enacted in the classroom, then we need one more key layer, which are the teachers. And then for teachers to be able to implement or to teach these concepts, there is the aspect of competencies. And we have key frameworks which are defining what teacher competencies are. And most of these frameworks, I look at them as external epistemologies, and they are universal and decontextualized. So these are frameworks which have been developed, but they're being implemented in different, or teachers are using them to implement different content, different subjects in different contexts without trying to understand how then they can be applied in this particular context. So what is important in this case then, how then do teachers get to implement this global framework, these global agendas, global ideas, to be able to be effective in this particular context? For instance, in the Kenyan context, and I'm using the Kenyan context particularly because this is the data that I've been able to analyze. So then there is an issue that for teachers to be able to implement this concept, if you look at the competences, be it content knowledge, be it pedagogical content knowledge, they need to reduce it to a layer that the learners can be able to understand. And these are influenced by a moderating layer, which includes the contexts, the country, and the schools. And in this case, then there's the socio-cultural effects, the policy and curriculum, which is supposed to guide what is being taught in schools. So for teachers to be able to make the learners understand these global agendas, which are noble, they need to be able to put them in that particular context. So they do not need to reduce, to adjust the content, but they need to interpret it, make sense of it, how it's applicable in the local context, in relationship to the global context, and also be able to adapt this content that they are supposed to teach. So the key idea in this case is that contextualization is not about just adjusting what the teachers understand, the knowledge they have about global education, or the knowledge they have about global citizenship education, but it's more about interpreting it and adapting to a particular context, using locally relevant examples to teach this concept for students to be able to connect between the local and the global. Okay, thank you so much.